You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Let's play.
Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
I'm pretty sure this movie's come out at like 20 times at this point, but here we are, only a year later. Jason Statham and director David Ayer are back with their newest movie, A Working Man. I'm pretty sure you've seen the trailer at this point, you kind of get the gist here. Retired soldier man goes out on a major kill fest because they wronged those close to him. In this case, a little girl for a construction company he works at is taken, and he's got to go fight to get her back. Yeah, what else do you expect? Without getting too much into the previous movie that came out in this duo's career, which would be The Beekeeper, I can tell you that it was a very fun surprise. It had one of the hardest movie posters I've seen, and I went into it. It was silly, popcorn fun. I went to see it with my dad, and you know what? Same can be said here. The plot is a little ridiculous at times, and there's a weird clash of styles in here, but overall, I think you're looking at a movie that you can either on a Thursday or Friday night, you can go to the movie theaters with the friends, family, a date, enjoy some silly popcorn fun, and that's exactly what you're going to get from here. Let's get into it. The plot for the movie is a little ridiculous at times, and there is a weird clash of style in here. There's kind of a weird Mad Max looking faction that kind of gets introduced halfway through the movie. I mean, there's a samurai character in the background. It's a biker with the samurai helmet. I don't know how else to say it. And then there's these two brothers in the movie who, again, it kind of feels like it came from a different movie. It kind of actually came, it feels like they came from a Guy Ritchie movie, which is also who Statham tends to work with. It's just weird because the movie does feel kind of grounded and more serious at times, and then it kind of really dips into the sillier elements. But it's not the worst thing ever. It's just a little bit messy. And if that's one way to sum up the movie, at least for the first half of it, it is a little messy. They're trying to build up the characters and their backstories and all that stuff. And overall, it sometimes just feels like little skits rather than an actual coherent movie. Also, I noticed there was a heavy reliance on music. Every scene had a background soundtrack, and sometimes I prefer just hearing the folly of the background, like the construction workers, or if it's just two people talking, or if it's just audio. Sometimes it's needed. Here, it's a lot. Now let's get to the reason you actually showed up, which is the action itself. The action was fun. Jason Statham, at the ripe age of 57, is still doing a good amount of his own stunts. I will say again, I have to compare it to The Beekeeper, which again came out last year around this time. It actually felt inferior, and it's weird because it's the same director here. So I don't know, maybe they wanted to do something a little more like the kind of the shaky, choppy kind of close-up action stuff. It's not egregious, but it's definitely not as good as it was seen in The Beekeeper. There's a lot of close-up shots, there's a lot of shaky cam, there's a lot of just kind of the quicker cut editing, but it's not bad. That final assault, that final climactic action sequence is probably the best one in the movie. And there's some really fun wire work in there. There's some really good kind of visual effects in there. But it's very interesting that this movie is a lot of talking, which again is kind of a polar opposite to its previous movie. There is action in here, but some of it's very quick, and there's actually not a lot of it, especially when the runtime of this movie is about 2 hours. No movie like this with this plot should be this long, and especially since the beginning of the movie was a little messy, it does kind of take a while to get its footing. I could have easily shaved about 30 minutes off of this movie, and there's actors in this movie for sure. Jason Statham is himself, man. He's doing his best here. He's very good at this tough, kind of quiet protagonist. But you know what? He has a couple of slower scenes in here that I think he does pretty decently. But I will say he's best when he's being Statham. David Arbor from Stranger Things is in here, and he plays one of his wounded veteran friends, a blind one. He does bring a charm to the role. He's a pretty fun background character. The main villains are like a little too cartoony. It's just hard to talk about this movie because it's so bare bones. So I'll just leave it off with kind of a fun movie. And there's really no rush to really see this. You can wait, a couple weeks when the theaters you get less and less full. Overall, though, I would say it's a fun movie. It definitely has its problems, but it's pretty fun. What about you guys? What is your favorite Jason Statham movie? Comment below and let me know. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.